All right, SLPs, super exciting video for you here today because we're going to cover speech and language evaluation writing hacks. Ways for you to get evaluations written faster, more accurately, and ways to save your work so that it gets used in the future. So, little known fact, bilinguistics has been around about 20 years when Ellen Kester started it with a group of people. And the majority of the initial work, which is carried on through today, was with early intervention and also with evaluations. At this point in time, each spring we do hundreds of evaluations. And I have to tell you that people don't call us because we have the easy evaluations, the S here, the R reevaluation. Almost all of them deal with some sort of diversity and some sort of culture, second language acquisition, tertiary disabilities, real complex stuff. And due to the processes and practices that we have in place, we've been able to really master the way that we get evaluations out of the door. And I'm going to share that with you today. So I've got 6 tips for you to get your evaluation writing up and running. So number 1, coding your reports. So on my computer, I have a file that basically has all my evaluations in it. And for every evaluation, it's followed by 6 letters. So it's E space, R space, S space. And what it stands for is expressive, receptive, speech. And then it can be impaired or N. So a report that was ENRNSN is someone who doesn't qualify because everything's normal. EIRISN, expressive impaired, receptive impaired, speech is normal. So let me show you what this looks like and how powerful this is. Okay, so here I'm within my folder and it's just called Evaluations and Resources. And I've got all the reports that have been given to me. So if I go here, let's say I just finished working with a male 6-year-old who had expressive impaired, receptive impaired, speech impaired. I'm going to go expressive impaired, receptive impaired, speech impaired, 6. And then I'm going to look for names of children who are matching those criteria. Now I have the first names plus the last initial in place because I want to be able to match children who have the same gender. That way the he's and she's and hers and hims within the report stay the same. The other thing I'm going to do, so if I do expressive, impaired, receptive, normal, we have those all the time, speech normal, you can see that I've got reports that come up matching that also. Now when you have a report that has something really funky or something you don't see for a while, I also add that on there. So let's say I had a report on cluttering. Then I add that tag. Or how about Down syndrome? So that's there too, so that I have the text to be working with them or with those kids. And you always want to include the age. So the way you save an age is the semicolon. So 7-3. And I actually have some kids that are exactly that age. But basically the first number will give you either the month or the year that they were born in. So you can get close enough to the age. Why is this important? Because we know that our tests break off at certain ages. The SELF, for example, the protocols change from 5 to 8 and then 9 and above. So if you're testing a 5-year-old, you don't want to pull a child up for the SELF that's at 9 because the protocols and the tables will all be different. And you can also do that too. You can put in a specific language test that you use if it's not something. So for example, someone recently knocked it out of the park with a communication matrix report, and I took the content from that. And the other thing is that if you test in other languages, you want to put those words in there too. All right. So that's number 1, is that code your reports so that you can easily find them and take the text from them. Okay, number 2 is that on the top of the reports, let's say I'm writing a report for a child named John. If I'm borrowing text from any other report, on the top of the report in red, I have anyone I'm borrowing it from. So let's say I take text from a boy named Steven or a girl named Lucy. It's going to be in bright red across the top, Lucy and Steven. So at the end, I go back and do a find or place or make sure that I didn't leave those names in the report, because that's embarrassing and awful. We want to be able to reuse our text, but it's not ethical, it's not good, it just looks awful if you have someone else's names within the report. Number three at this point, peer reviews. So Bilinguistics uses a system of peer reviews where no matter how long anyone's been doing evaluations, so this is someone 2 months who just joined our team, this is to this day, Alan, Fong, and I, we send our reports around and someone else has to peer review it. What this does is it's continually advancing the team's ability. I've got to read other reports. A 2-month person's report reads mine. She might read, I might read hers and give her feedback. This is how we're getting these texts, these bodies of text from people who are doing these evaluations where they're knocking them out of the park with Down syndrome or OGCOM or fluency. We can grab their text and add it to our library, and we continue to learn from each other, and the reports are spotless. So peer reviews, this takes a little bit more time, but the truth is that it actually helps you get reports done more quickly. If you know the report has to go to somebody else, then you're more likely to get it done a little bit faster. And all you need is your team to agree to this, or a buddy on your team that's willing to share their content. Okay, tables. I have one report that's basically got every test's tables in there. So we don't want to rely and write reports that are completely only tables. But the truth is that the standard scores, the percentiles, the articulation tests where we're listing all the words, that stuff gets repeated report after report after report. So you want a document that has all the tests you use, all the tables that you use, that are ready, that you can grab them, cut and paste, and put those in the report. Okay, next one. School SLPs, we got to learn from the clinic folks. So Bilinguistics is kind of a unique situation where we do have a clinic and we're also in the schools. So we have this hybrid model where we can see both ways. School people, you have like 60 days to get an evaluation done with, is absolutely bananas. It's good for us, but the truth is that you can let that time just get eaten up and stuff get backed up. Clinic folks fall off their chairs when they hear this because they have 24 hours, 72 hours, which to some degree is absolutely nuts. But we can learn from them, and when we get an evaluation, we can start it and knock it out in a much smaller period of time. Know it's possible, know that 50% of our field is doing it on a weekly basis. On the other hand, clinic folks, we need to learn from the school folks. So sometimes clinic folks are destined or predetermined that the evaluation has to happen in one window. With kids that you're already working on your caseload, school people are really, really good at breaking up portions of the test, doing a piece here, doing a piece here, coming back, getting them next week in between classes because of their caseload sizes. Know that we can learn from the school people to be able to grab portions out of our therapy sessions or at the end of our therapy sessions, so that we're not looking for this one slam dunk window, which, you know, if the kid isn't feeling good or isn't behaving, that's going to cause ruckus with your schedule. Okay. The last thing, which is just kills me, I have to invoke the gods of coffee to make this happen, but I'm much happier when I do, is that write your report immediately after your testing or immediately after you've done the portion. It's exponential with how much you remember and how much time you have and how fresh it is in your mind with every day that you wait, or if you're testing incrementally and trying to write later. Let alone if you end up testing 2 or 3 kids simultaneously and they're the same language and same gender and about the same age, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, who was the one who I did the BAPA with? Who's the one I did the self with? The closer you can move your writing to the testing, the shorter it is. And I know this is absolutely exhausting. It takes all the effort in me to make this happen. I test a child, I get up, I go out, I do a lap around the building, I sit down and I write, or at the very least, I audio record my voice to try to get those things in there. And I try to get their protocols done before I leave the school when I'm doing an external evaluation. So there you have it. There's 7 ideas for you to get your reports up and written and out the door, with you being able to capture your work year after year and improve on your text, your ability to learn from your peers, your ability to learn from other members in the field, and your ability to not reinvent the wheel. So go forth, and good luck with these evaluations. Know that they can take a lot less effort. For examples of our evaluation templates and some of the paragraphs that we include in our reports, they'll be underneath this video on SLP Impact. So go to slpimpact.com, check it out. That's where all these videos are and the resources that are associated with them. Have a great day.